Usatine Media presents Fitzpatrick's Dermatology Flashcards. This is a great way to learn dermatology. It's so interactive. If you're starting off at a basic level, you can just start off by learning the lesion types, such as scale, ulcer, all kinds of lesion types. And you can progress from that to important diseases like superficial spreading melanoma. It's a nice example of a clinical case. If you want, you can blow it up and look at it. You can see these are regular edges. It's a little bit larger than a pencil eraser, variation in color, all this good stuff that's there. If you go to the text, you can learn about this. You can learn it's the most common type of melanoma. You can learn how to diagnose it and manage it. And then you can just move on. If you want to go card by card, you go on to melasma, and there would be melasma. And you can actually navigate from the top as well, one card at a time. You can see, do you know this? If you do, you might decide that you want to mark it as something that you know. You can go on to the next one. Atopic dermatitis. Let's say you need to know more about this, so you're going to read about it, but maybe you want to go back to it again in the future, so you want to mark it as something that you feel you don't completely know. So those are different ways to look through it. You can go straight back to this list by number, or you can go to a search if you want. You can go do a search. Now, I've already done a search on bullous, so we could redo the search. There's bullous. It shows us the 25 matches with bullous impetigo. And every time the word bullous appears, bullous pemphigoid. See, this is one I've looked at before, and I felt that I knew it, so I put no. And here is the one that I don't know. So here was one that I put down as erythema multiforme, which could sometimes have a bullous appearance to it, or it might actually really be related to something even like herpes, or it might have the look at this issue about whether it's got a positive Nikolsky sign. There's a lot of information here. I'm just trying to show you the navigation. Going back to home, we could go back to contents and do our work that way. If we do want to do another search that we've never done before, we just click in here, and we could start clicking. Let's say we want to know more about dermatomyositis. Well, let's start with derm. Now, there's a lot of things that start with derm in dermatology, but dermato, now we got a lot more. And there it is, dermatomyositis. And we can see where it matches. In these three cases, actually, it's something that we might see in this Raynaud's case. And we could go all the way up to the top and see this is a Raynaud's phenomenon. And we may want to go back to this. We want to say we don't know it, so we mark it as don't know. Now, another really cool thing you can do is question and answer. So if you start with Q&A, it will give you a case, and we see bulla, maybe a little bit of crusting on the dorsum of the hand. So we might be thinking about something like porphyria cutanea tarda. Let's go back and let's say, what is the diagnosis? Well, I'm going to say that it's porphyria cutanea tarda. Let's see. Oh, we got it. So, so we got the right answer, but you need to know more than just the diagnosis. Well, what are the clinical manifestations? Well, we mentioned the bulla, sometimes ulcers, crusts on the back of the hand, and photosensitive areas. So we've got that to learn, and then diagnosis and differential diagnosis. What else can look like this? There are a number of different things. And finally, how do we manage it? Well, often it means stopping the alcohol, but it may even require phlebotomy. So, so there's our learning on PCT. Now we go on to the next case and we say, let's see, what do we see? We see a child with some kind of eruption, and it's all over the body, the extremities. It looks kind of macular to me, but there may be some papules as well. Let's go back and see. Well, maybe you don't know the answer, because quite frankly, child rashes are very hard. And this is actually a very common child rash, the virally induced rash, or the viral exanthem. And the reason this wasn't easy is that that's a very non-specific rash, but it's what rashes can do. I mean, children can have a virus and get a viral exanthem. And then we can learn more about this. So you can see, if you don't actually want to go through each, let's say, okay, you don't want to know more about viral exanthems right now. You want to try your next case. Here we go, next case. Look at it blown up. Look close up there. And let's go back to the question, and let's see what this one is. That was scabies, and those were burrows, and those were also some excoriations. Okay, and you can keep skipping or learning about each case in more detail. A really fun way to learn dermatology. You can bookmark stuff, and we've done some bookmarks of things that we don't know, things that we do know. That means we've obviously looked at these cards to make those bookmarks. And then all the other cards that we haven't looked at, 234, if we haven't marked them, they remain unmarked, and this is a good reminder of what you still want to look at. Like we haven't looked at this card with erosions. Nice example of erosions. Okay, so we've got contents, searching, Q&A, bookmarks. We can also make notes. So, you know, as you might scroll notes in a book, you can actually do some notes in your app. I put in a note earlier about how Darier's disease might be painful, how plaque psoriasis is very common, but we can make any kind of notes we want. I was just putting in something to show you how the functionality works. And finally, if we want to learn more about the app itself and the people who produced it, we can go to About. We can learn about the authors. We can learn about who developed it, and we can learn more about how to use the app. Now, it's pretty easy. This is a very nicely designed navigation system, so you probably would rarely have to go here. But if you weren't sure about some of the navigation, this will give you clues on how to use the app. And finally, let's take a look at this final page. This was developed by Usatine Media. I'm Dr. Usatine, and I've enjoyed navigating this app with you today. I hope you'll find this to be a useful way to learn dermatology, and I hope you enjoyed this presentation.